皆様こんにちは、くたらぎです。さて、12月3日で25周年を迎えたプレイステーション。このプレイステーションという名前には、我々の熱い思いが込められています。それは、遊びのための最高のプラットフォームを世界中のゲームファンの皆様に届けたいという、こういう思いです。そこに素晴らしいタイトルを生み出していただいたクリエイターの皆様、プロデューサーの皆様、そして世界中のファンにこれらのタイトルを紹介していただいたメディアの皆様、そして何よりも愛を持ってそれらのタイトルを遊んでいただいた世界中のユーザーの皆様に私より心から感謝をいたします。25年前、ともすれば子供のための遊びだったゲームを大人にも、そして女性にも広げたいという大きな夢がありましたが、今ではプレイステーションの話をすると、皆さんがそれぞれ自分のプレイステーション史を笑顔で話してくれるのが生みの親としては嬉しい驚きです。ユーザーの皆さんと一緒に築き上げてきたプレイステーションが牽引するさらなる未来のエンターテインメントを楽しみにしています。
プレイステーション。
Ken Kutaragi, who's best known for creating the Sony PlayStation, the video game console. I don't know about you, but I've had all the PlayStations except PS4 and PS5, right? Maybe in the future I get PS6. I became more busy, or it's just one of those things. All right, so Ken Kutaragi, like I said, created this. It spearheaded the development, of course, of these products. Kutaragi's appointment to executive deputy president has helped to reassure skittish investors that Sony is serious about regaining its edge. Though its electronics are admired for their styling, Sony in recent years has rarely produced a hit that redefines the electronics industry in the way that Walkman and compact disc player did years ago. Now, hear us out on this, okay? This is what the aha moment for him. There's an exception, and that, of course, is Mr. Kutaragi's PlayStation, which produced a disproportionate amount of Sony profits in 2002 and 2003. He, who is 53, is a brash engineer and a rebel inside Sony, respected for his success, but brushed aside by the company's more traditional managers. PlayStation has, of course, become a legend, not just because of his success, but because this guy stomped and shouted until Sony executives agreed to build it. Stomped and shouted. Try to remember that too. Because you want to know something? Yes, some things seem speculative. And sometimes it seems as though like there's no way, like especially people from the A-Star community. And don't get me wrong, I think A-Star is good. I might buy some A-Star. You might be one of those guys watching in the show as we speak, saying Jasmine is never going to have what A-Star has with Sony. And to a degree, I would agree to a certain extent when it comes to certain things, right? Like the current state of the PlayStation and blockchain and whatnot. I'm telling you flat out, I'm not going to give you a nothing burger when it comes to this. So you need to stay tuned. I'm not going to just go be like, oh, look here, guys, Kutaragi, and boom, Jasmy instantly. Again, we're going to get to that. But you got to see some key things here. And this is really cool to see this reported today. So we're going to jump back, obviously, to a little bit more of what we have. And I'm going to jump to this next page. I'm just going to clear up some tabs real quick just to make the flow go a little bit better. Yeah, let's share this. Let me copy this image. Put it on the screen. There we go. Here's a little background about this guy real quick, okay? And basically speaking, you know, Cyber Eye Entertainment Co. It says in 2009, he established his own company and assumed the position of president and CEO. Currently, he's an outsider director of Rakuten. I know about Rakuten. I think some of you guys know about them too. Also, Marvelous Company Limited, Nojima Co. He's a visiting professor, not just like instructor. I'm an instructor. I don't have the title of professor. You guys call me the Max the crypto professor. I mean, okay, maybe crypto professor, but technically speaking, I've never been a professor. You have to have a doctorate for some of the newcomers that don't know that. Yeah, but this guy's legit. He's a visiting professor at the Ritsumiken University Graduate School of Management, special visiting professor. I mean, this guy's got a robust background. He basically did a bunch of work for Sony from 1975 to 2006. So just as impressive as Kunitake Yando, right? He joined the Sony Corporation back in 75. He signed to First Development. I mean, very, very impressive, right? I don't need to go into all this. But what I will go into is this next part of what we have. And let me just pull this up. Here it is. And this was literally like 15 minutes before the show was supposed to air. And I was like, oh, God, I need to read up a little bit more. Just make it a little bit better of a show. So if you're wondering why the show is delayed a little bit, I got to know what I'm talking about on this. You need to know what you're invested in, right? Again, shout out to Brian, okay? And if anything, shout out to Jesse of KIR Finance, keeping it real finance. Like I said, keeping it real since 1982. I've been keeping it real apparently since 1981. So he says he definitely found one of them, and he's a semi-certain that the other two, in regards to this reference, in April, about a post about Manabu Sakamoto, is part of these patents, right? So it says, listen to the two recent Jasmine patents as an inventor, and this guy that we've been talking about, he is in fact the person who designed the famous PlayStation logo. Okay, so the important thing, and I'll blow this up. I mean, come on, if you're invested in Jasmine, you're not interested in like somebody who invented the PlayStation joining their team. Oh, this is a nothing burger. It's not gonna be a nothing burger. I'm telling you flat out, it won't be a nothing burger. So, yeah, this guy created the logo of the world's best-selling game machine, the PlayStation. And it goes on to mention this little part that was from apparently volume 170 of this particular publication. Forgot what exact magazine it was, and so on. I apologize on that. But the key thing is, like it says, PlayStation, a home video game console that everybody knows. I mean, who doesn't know about PlayStation at this point? Many people have probably seen the logo mark, so on and so forth. The logo, again, was created by this guy you see in the picture. And he formed the core of the brand that we are all accustomed to at least know about. Maybe you never played a PlayStation, but you at least know about it, right? So, again, let's get into the next page. And in this, if you want some of that aha moment, there's more. The clients and partnerships in regards to what you see here, right? From what this guy's connected with Aerograph, right? President and / creative director. Let me jump back to that. I'm sorry. This part right here where it says volume 170. Aerograph Co. Limited President / creative director Manabu Sakamoto. This guy, right? He's literally the guy that created PlayStation. When we go to the profile, again, clients and partners, and on this part, I will blow this up a little bit more. You will see, look at that, guys. I mean, come on, Jasmine, listed right there, plain as day. Isn't that not incredibly bullish? So while there's zero information, and I really looked like you have no idea, I was hoping to find something like, oh man, is there a hint anywhere about a PlayStation 6, with a mention of a personal data locker or blockchain technology or just anything like that. Now for PS5, there's of course, A-Star connection. That's, of course, where the A-Star community is like, yeah, man, not Jasmine. They're flexing. They're like A-Star all the way, right? Okay. I'm not trying to make this, tribalistic, right? In that regard. But here's the thing. On the reports, it does show last March that the Sony PlayStation 6 is supposed to be released in 2027. Sometime in 2027. I don't know exactly when. Could get delayed. We don't know. All right. That's literally, 3.5, maybe 4 years, depending on the delay, if there is a delay. But again, clients and partners, Jasmy. Now, is there more to it than just this? Oh, you better believe there's more to it than just this. I wasn't just going to end it right there. Please smash that like if you haven't done so already. Speaking of which, let's see how we're doing on likes. We are at 40 likes. Okay, not too bad. But what I want to show you here is a little bit more, and we will get to that juicy stuff. I mean, it's really getting kind of juicy right now, is it not? So I want to show you guys this. Boom, here we go. Now you guys see on the screen. UX designer Hiroshi Yasutomi's desk. And it says, and I wish I could zoom in more. So, look at the very bottom of your screen. You thought I was going to give you a nothing burger. It is not a nothing burger. In fact, I'll come out of the screen just to put emphasis on this. Look at this. Look at this. I know I say that a lot of times, but really, bottom of the screen. What is his position? Creative advisor. Where does it mention Jasmy, you nothing burger fanatic Maximus? Always dropping nothing burgers. I'm kidding. You don't. I love you. He is in charge of Jasmy's. Yes, you read right. Jasmy's UX design while doing a side job. The photo shows a workbench for making mock-ups and prototyping. The lower part is storage, and parts and materials are stored except for the chairs. He basically designs all of the office furniture himself. Is this guy literally when we talk about the Internet of Things, is this guy really part of the Internet of freaking things that Jasmy's part, got going on big time? Oh yeah, he definitely is. And it says plain as day, Jasmy, and that's part of his side job. His side job is to work with Jasmy. Oh my God. Bombshell moment? Is that not the most bombshell bullish news you've ever seen in Jasmy? Who is this Maximus guy? Why is this channel only 14,000 subs? The hell if I know. I don't know. But the reality is this. It's not about that. We can have 5,000 subs. We can have 100,000 subs. Don't matter what the case be. You hold Jasmine for a freaking reason, do you not? Well connected. It's not, what you know. Like I've always said, it's who you know. My God. Bombshell. Absolutely dropping them bombs. Thank you. I'm not going to thank myself. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, KRF Finance. Thank you to our community. I love the Jasmine community. Want to know why? Because it's not about me getting the news out first or reporting about it first or so on. No, ain't about that. It's educating you guys who hold this digital asset for that generational wealth. And I know you guys hold a lot more than just Jasmine. We talk about XRP and Quant and all these other ones. But man, I'm telling you flat out, when I read this, especially being a fanatic of Jasmy, I was like, oh my God, I see where this is going. Because you know what? All this speculative, talk about what could they possibly do in the metaverse? Maybe we don't even need a Sony PlayStation 6. Maybe we just need the guy who was literally, remember we talked about the pioneers of IoT, Kun Takayano, and we talked about Kazumasa Sato. And what was the other guy we talked about the other night? Yoshida, right? From Dreamforce. He retired from them, but he's still connected with them, right? He feels as though that his focus on another platform was going to help contribute towards Society 5.0 a little bit better than him just sticking with Jasmine. But the point is, each one of these guys have talents. Each one of these guys can bring something to the table, can they not? That is incredible. Again, my analogy that I made numerous times. It's not about one actor or one director or one producer producing a Hollywood big budget movie. It's the talents of all these guys coming together and doing what? Big things to accomplish the goal towards what? Society 5.0. But what if Society 5.0, I should say, what if when Society 5.0 has this huge metaverse platform going on and you can see one of the pioneers of something that you love to use all the time, which is this guy, and he literally invented the Sony PlayStation, and then there's that Jasmy connection. I don't know. This might be in my opinion, this might be the biggest news ever when it comes to Jasmy. Because you want to know something? People want to identify with a name, a mainstream brand, do they not? If we always talk about, Jasmy, the former Sony executives, for people that don't understand all this, don't want to take the time about that sounds very appealing. But when you hear this, oh my God. All right, there's more. I got a little excited about this and so on. And if anything, we're going to jump into just a tad bit more in regards to this. All right, let me show you guys the next page. And I love this about, like these guys, Brian, KIR Finance, you name it, is bringing it to us and then having a lot of us tell other people, by all means, word of mouth. If you're not on crypto Twitter, get on crypto Twitter. Tweet this out. Get the word out. There's this thing called Jasmy, and they're well connected. All right, check this out for a second. Sony retired Mayokoshi Saiki Kunumi factory at Center of Development for new AI-equipped printer. AI-equipped printer. That sounds interesting. When was this? October 19, 2022. Among companies in Akita Prefecture, is a growing movement to employ external human resources. What is external human resources? Well, maybe some of the AI stuff. But what about, like, isn't there a thing called IoT, Internet of Things, to get that job done? Yeah, there is. So, yes, these resources with specialized knowledge and skills in the form of side jobs or some of these other things. In fiscal 2008, the Prefecture Professional Human Resources Strategy Center mediated 3 cases. But this year, or then, the number is growing at a momentum of over 40 cases. And they give you some of these examples, right? Side jobs and so on. Look what's referenced on the very, very bottom. You can't see it. Mr. Minoshima checking the operation of the AI-equipped printer. That's interesting. So this guy is not just playing around with the concept of Jasmy or playing around with the concept of, what the PlayStation did, but this guy, like, as the saying goes, knows the thing or two because he's experienced a thing or two. He invents stuff. Isn't that the whole point? Having guys that, like, super talented who can invent stuff or have patents. Remember we started off with the thing of the concept of patents, inventors. Oh, I'm starting to put this all together. It seems like one hell of a project, does it not? Yeah, I would definitely say so. Oh, you're getting paid to shill Jasmy. You just do it to pump your own bags. You know how naive that is? Really? Is that utility in motion, me sharing this with you? No. 20,000 blockchain PCs being sold. Is that utility in motion? No. Sounds good. Utility in motion is when the personal data lockers are hooked up and people are using that information to be monetized for rewards and so on. That's utility in motion. All right, let's jump back into a little bit more of what we have. I mean, obviously huge news, right? And great research. It's not just news. I mean, this is not time-sensitive news. This is just great research. Let me see if there's just a tad bit more. Oh, yeah, there is. Let me get back to this. All right. So, yeah, it says, he's reposting this as in Brian. And he stated that, originally it glitched, but, had no pictures. We saw the pictures. I just presented to him. I show you the business, right? Talk about Aerograph, like we showed earlier, just in case you just connected, or, not that long ago. On this particular page, Jasmine listed as client partner, talked about that, as well as many other relevant companies such as KOTK. He also listed as a designer for Jasmine, this guy that we're talking about, in an IT media article in Japan covering a few employees of Jasmine, for instance. A little bit more about this for Hiroshi Yasutomi. He believes this is him, his first time at Sony. And basically speaking, let me see, hold on, let me go further up. Yeah, my bad. This other guy, I'm sorry. Sometimes I see all these names and not realizing, hey, man, it's another guy. So I apologize on that. I messed up a little bit on that, but that's okay. He says he believes it's him because this is the time at Sony, and he's part of that business division, lines up with having known all the Jasmine executives, as well as Kanji from the JP Patent Matching, and Kotak being his current business website. And of course, a client partner of Aerograph. We shared you guys that information. And then I'm sorry, the third guy, right? Sometimes you got to keep in mind, a lot of times when we see the old pictures, I'm thinking to myself, well, is this how the guy looked many years ago? Not the case, right? So again, a little bit of a mess up on that, right? I'm still getting some of the information, but the key thing is come on, man. these guys who are well connected. All right, so it says that he is part of like the Sony alumni, if you will, and we showed you guys that picture as well. What about this last part? Potentially here is filing dates of the companies. Of course, he's talking about his friend that gave him some of this info, and then he just gives you the citations. I mean, here's the point, right? Like even myself, when I didn't sign up for teaching this calendar year, but we always, especially at the collegiate level, and even in high school, right? But especially at the collegiate level, you got to give 2 sources, 2 citations, 2 references is the rule of thumb. And we do it in what we call APA format. So, Brian, if you're watching this at some point, I know you watch some of our content, my friend. I give you an A++ on this one. Why? He's got more than 2 references. Look at all this. Boom. All these 2, 3. Well, we can't cite Wikipedia. All right. So 3 or 4 different citations. Very, very awesome. Look more into yourself if you want to look more into it. If you want to, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, if I was watching, I'd be like, oh my God, too. All right. That concludes, believe it or not, our Jasmy coverage for the night.